Hello, everybody. Teague here from the Sampsoid community. I am showing up to give some tips for Sonoma, I guess. I should preface this with, I am not an alien. There are drivers that do things better than me here, no doubt. I raced against them this week, or last week now. So I don't at all mean to come off like I think I have all the answers here, or a know-it-all, or a better driver than anybody else. What I do have is a lot of laps on Sonoma, both in iRacing and a bunch in real life as well. I did time trials here for a few years and a little bit of wheel-to-wheel racing, but not a ton, before I had to sell my race car. So I think I might have some tidbits that would help people. Take it or leave it, you know. Mostly just really enjoy this track. I think it's a difficult technical challenge, and sometimes people ride it off a little too fast because it can be a little frustrating at first when you're learning it, I think. But this is one of my favorite tracks on the planet after having had more time on it. I just think it's really rewarding. You know, even if you can't pass super easily, it's just like a super rewarding track to drive in battles and outside of battles. So anyway, I'm gonna give a few thoughts here about Sonoma, and if it helps you for this week, then then great. Let me get my gloves on. So one of the first things, I don't have a script for this, by the way. I didn't sit down and I just thought, okay, I'll just run through the track and give a couple thoughts in case they help people. So this is going to be a little bit jumbly and off the cuff probably, but you know, that's what it is. So I guess the first thing I'll do is
disengage limiter.
And it'll have to let me back up without DQing me, I think, in test mode, but let's find out. Let's just get back to the beginning of the lap. Woo! All right, well, this is before start finish, so I guess I'll cover the last stuff last. So anyway, when you're coming through here, my tendency is to just cut this inside as tight as you can, but I want to get to the outside. So cross start finish and get set up for turn one here. What I'm usually doing here, getting set up for turn one, you can cut towards the inside barrier here or leave it a little bit lighter where you see the dark strip. But in the end, I think of turn one as, you know, it's a place where you can gain a little time going through fast, but for the most part, it's a setup turn for turn two. And a lot of the time to be gained here, in my opinion, is the exit of turn two. So, you know, you kind of end up wanting to set up wide here. And I think one of the things that's a key theme that I think is one of the reasons a lot of people have trouble with Sonoma is the elevation changes and camber changes. So elevation being like the up and down, you know, going up a hill or going down a hill, and then the camber being like tilted to the left or tilted to the right, perhaps at the same time. And one of the things you'll notice as we get up to turn two is that this situation is very difficult in terms of the hill and the camber. So what we want to do is be set up on here on the left, kind of go through this. If I back up again, you kind of want to land with your car coming right up at the end of this curb. So we're coming up through turn one, we're giving a light brake, and what we're wanting to have happen with the car is that we end up kind of at the end of our brake here and using the trail brake, so a little bit of turning while we're braking, to come in and hit the inside half of this curb, or just be very close to it. Don't want to go, if you take a look at the curb again, see how it's taller at the middle and then taller again at the top. It does like a double step on the curb here. So I'm usually trying to hit like the first third of it, and if I miss, I miss. I'm not usually super worried about it. It's what I'm focusing more on is the weight of the car and what's happening with the weight of the car as I kind of go from, I just backed up to the wrong spot, but yeah, fixed it again. Okay, sorry, not a pro backer upper. So you're coming in pretty hot to this turn, right? You're on the brakes, you're tossing the car in, and you're coming this way. Now, if you stop right about here, one of the things you'll notice that I think is easy to not realize in multiple spots on this track is the camber of the track. So I think it's obvious to everybody you're coming up this big hill and then you're coming over a crest here and the crest is right ahead, kind of, you know, late on this curb. But if you look at the curb and you look at the ground on your left, you'll actually see that it's sloped quite. Let's see. I wonder if I turn on my wheel cam, that would help. Can I, like, yeah? So it's sloped like from the apex away. So not only are you going over a crest of a hill here, but the car is going to want to push to your left as you go around this corner. So what I'm usually doing is I'm thinking about the weight of the car when I'm coming through this corner, and I'm wanting to aim for kind of being weight balance neutral as I come over the crest, so that I can get on the throttle as early as possible there without pushing too wide to the left. Then continuing on, a common thing you'll see here is that this people are getting to the right to set up for this next part, which is again very hill impacted. So where this curve happens here, you can run your tire into the dirt almost here, like you know, call it 6 inches, like maybe up to a foot. Or what would that be? In centimeters, I don't know. Anyway, and you're wanting the car to be set up here. One of the common mistakes on this turn 3, is over braking, over slowing yourself. You can go into this way faster than you think, and it's because of the hill effect. So anytime you're running along on a track and the hill like scoops up in front of you, there's a compression zone where the weight of the car is, as the hill goes up and is defying gravity, the car is pressing even harder into the pavement. And when that happens, you have more traction. So a lot of people over slow for this. All you really need is a little bit of light brake. You're trying to hit the apex, but you're not gonna stay to the left like that. You're trying to get to that apex, light brake, really chuck the car in. Oops. See, I'm not good at backing up. And then let it come out to the middle of the track, get straightened up and gather itself up, and then pretty much right away you're on like another light trail brake to cut in here. This is another curb where you want to kind of hit the first half of it. It's not going to necessarily ruin your line if you get hit the taller part on the outside towards the dirt, but it will affect how soon you can get on the throttle. So this is kind of one of those things where you just kind of need to make this memory. Like this seems really scary in like a place where you don't want to be going crazy fast, kind of, because it's so blind, right? But if you do the same thing with the car every time, like you push it the same way in the previous entry to the corner, and then trail brake right at the apex from about mid-track right here, and keep a consistent steering angle, you'll find yourself, I would track out a little wider there at speed. So you'll find yourself right in the right spot that you want to be in. Then for this, I'm usually braking just a little bit before the end of the curb. You can brake a little later than that if you brake heavier, but you got to be careful with not over-rotating the car. And then this is another corner that is very easy to get wrong. I think people see this, you look off to the right and you can tell it's going downhill, but this is another one of those ones where it's easy to miss the camber if you're not in like VR with 3D. So when you're getting to the apex here, not only are we going down the hill, but again, the track is sloping to the left, and you're doing a lot with the weight of the car, so the car wants to drift out this way. You can let that happen and go out onto this curbing, and then you just get back in time. For this next part, I tend to, so there are a couple lines you see here. The line I see a lot of people running is a little different than what I do. Jeez. Reverse gear burns out. So what I see with a lot of people is coming through here, you know, going pretty fast, letting the car kind of drift wider over here, and then they maybe have to bring it all the way back over to the edge, or they're just tighter on the inside when the entry of the corner happens. What I like to do, if I back it up a little bit, reverse is very powerful in this car apparently. Okay, so we're coming off of this curb over here. What I like to do is hug it to the inside. What you'll see some people doing actually in real life is there's kind of a lip to the pavement here, so you can actually kind of hook a tire and like keep the car stuck to the inside a little bit through the mechanical grip of that. But for the most part, I don't try to do that. It's too risky, I think. Because if you get too much in the dirt, then all of a sudden there's a big problem. So I just kind of keep tight against the right side there. And then I actually lightly brake, and you'll see when I do a full speed lap, you'll be downshifting into third there. But one of the things is, again, this is a coming over the crest thing, and there's a little bit of variation in the pavement here and on the exit. So ideally, you want to be really careful with your inputs coming over the hill. Get onto the brakes, like consistent, maybe 30, 40, 50%. We'll see what I do when I'm going full speed. But try to, like, what I do is I try to get the car angled from the right side here, towards a few feet off the apex, kind of little left of mid-track like this, and have my hands straight, have the wheels straight. Don't over brake because you're also turning, and you don't want to get the back end of the car loose, or you lose tons of time in this corner. So it's all about kind of like coming over the crest. As you come over the crest, the car settles in. You can be on the brakes, light but not heavy. Downshift while you've got the wheels straight, and then continue into the corner. You can do a little bit of light trail braking to bring the nose in if you need to. And then on the exit, I think a lot of people are on the power too early here. Like, I think a lot of people see the end of the curb here, right? This looks like the line to kind of go straight ahead and turn. What happens if you're on the gas too hard too early here, you don't get a little more rotation out of the car as you push too far to the right. And then there's additional kind of like a compression bump that happens on the exit here, where usually on the exit of this turn, I'm actually counter steering to the right a little bit at first to counteract that bump, and then turning back left again. And usually that line I take runs me just kind of into the end of that curve, but not probably earlier on. Then setting up for the left side here. Sorry, I should have. My habit is just like go. What I'm looking at for my braking marker is the signs. This is a good place for fuel saving if you're trying to do fuel saving during the race. I would be fully in the clutch before the signs and then braking late for the corner if I was doing fuel saving. On a push lap, I'm braking right about at the red Snap-on Tools banner to our left, so big billboard. So I'm on the brakes by here, down into second, and then it's just kind of you want to make this one big continuous turn ideally. So there's a lot of technique to do, a lot of technique stuff that you can do that I think is don't worry, I got damage off. That's kind of optional. What I tend to do is get the car to about here, do a throttle drop on purpose to help with the rotation, throttle off kind of oversteer effect, and then be careful as you get back into the throttle, because that corner, the exit, is one of the places people melt their tires the most at Sonoma, and once you melt your tires, it gets to be a handful. So that's all I'm really doing there is, let's see, what else is there? Other tips for there is just getting on the gas as early as I can without pushing the car wide. Let's see. Yeah, so just coming at it again. We're coming out of this corner. We're on the gas as early as we can be. You can actually, if the car's pushing a little bit wide, you can actually kind of go up on that curb a little bit, and it's okay. Just don't end up in the dirt, basically, is all. And then this, you really want to you want to turn, but you want to be kind of keeping as straight as you can, right? So you can actually even run over these, and I think I do most laps, run over the end of these little curb things here. So you want to get right as much as you can here, and then turn very early. A lot of people turn into this way too late. Like, by the time you're done going over those little curb things that I just showed, and the car is stable again, you probably want to have a light trail brake and already be turning in for this. So, and then again, this is you turn in pretty early. You can ride the first part of that curb just fine. Give as much throttle as you can without running into the dirt there. And then I keep this very tight. So when I'm swooping in on this, I again want all the width of the track that I can have for this next very fast corner. So I'm let me show it again, just, jeez. I need reverse lessons. If anybody can give me reverse lessons. Anyway, you see where the dirt is here. I'm not running over the dirt, but I'm right on the line here. And as the dirt goes away, I'm eating all of this curb. I mean, I want to be like I don't want to be in the dirt at all, but I want to be all over this curb. Light trail brake like mid-curb, because you don't want to be trying to do it when you're turning in. You want the load up of the front tires to happen before your turn in. So light trail brake with enough time to load up the front, and then I'm staying in fifth. You might find it works a little easier for you if you drop to fourth in the BMW and other cars that may vary. Hitting this curve about halfway. Again, you don't want to go super high up on it because you don't want to lift the car up. You want the car to stay with the contact patches on the ground in a turn this fast and where you're going to load it up so much. By about mid-apex here, I'm back on the throttle if I do it correctly. If I miss a little bit, then I have to wait. But you can use all of this runoff and get back on. Even a little bit of the dirt you can manage to get away with. And then this, a lot of people do like running over of the cones and cut in like that and give themselves like a little bit of a angle like this, like heading into the final hairpin turn. I don't know. I don't find that it gives me much, and I don't like to risk the cones getting stuck under the car, so I don't do that. But I see lots of people doing it. So your mileage may vary. Decide for yourself. But anyway, this is like a hard braking zone. I'm braking just before the end cone. I think I've knocked it off. But you see where the yellow lines come together here to mark the pit entrance on the left. So I'm braking by about, I don't know, here-ish, right? Like just a little before then. Like I think the tendency is to want to. You can definitely brake later than that and make the corner, but the usual thing that happens is you heat your front tires up so much that then you turn in here and start pushing wide, and that kills your exit. And this is all about the exit. Now you can really get on the inside here. So if you think you're worried about an off track, like I don't think I've ever gotten one on the inside here. I mean, this is, you can be all the way in to the edge of these barrels. You just want a smooth arc so you can get through as fast as possible. As early as you can be on the throttle and opening up the steering wheel, you will be, and that'll put you really close to that wall, which is scary. I was always scared I was gonna slap it, get on the gas too hard and just go bonk my back end into it with my car in real life. And then it's just coming back around here for the next lap. So I guess I'll just do a couple laps and see if I think of any additional stuff to say or tips to give. These may not be perfect laps. I'm just doing this off the cuff with no warm-up today at all. But so anyway, I'm getting out here. Again, think about setting yourself up. That light brake, I'll do this lap kind of slow. Get turned in, set up the car here at the corner, down into second, turn in earlier than you think, on the gas earlier than you think. And the more perfectly you pick that angle that you come over the crest in, the earlier you can get on the throttle. So be thinking about that. You want to clip the line on the right here. Heavy turn in there with just a little bit of trail brake. The car will stick better than you think. Again, take that line over the hill that is just based on going from mid-jack to the apex, and it'll give you the right line over the hill at speed. Again, here we're braking towards the end of that curve behind us, turning in, coming down the hill. As soon as we can get on throttle without it pushing us too wide to the left, we want to be on throttle. So it's all going to be all based on the balance of the car and what you did. We're going to stay tight there. Set the car for the inside, light brakes, downshift into, you'll end up in third, I think, at speed. Coming around here. If you're trying to get a run on somebody, you can go a little wider there and try and shoot in, but in the end, you still want to kind of stay in off the exit there and come in off the end of the curb. Come down here, we're looking for the signs on the left. Red billboard, turn in. Again, don't hit the curb hard, it unsettles the car, but you want to be right up against it, right near it. On the gas as early as you can be there. Coming through here, trying to keep it a relatively straight line, run over those curbs, turn in right away. A little bit of trail brake for that left turn, probably not here on the right turn. Keep going, stay tight, stay tight. The dirt goes away, we're gonna eat this curb. Get ready for the apex. At the apex, we can be back on the power. Use all of this exit curb and even a little bit of dirt if you need to. Again, back on the brakes. Smooth entrance to this turn. Okay, and I'm gonna do a faster lap now. Okay, so this will be more at speed. Again, you don't have to be right on the barrier here on the inside. It doesn't. All that matters is that you're setting up so you can get to the inside. Here, light brake, Second, turn in, touch that curb on the beginning. You can be on the gas there pretty early. Cut this quite hard, light trail brake. Again, a light trail brake in up over the hill. You can get on the gas, but be careful with it. You can be on the gas pretty early there if you're using that curb on the exit. Stay tight to the inside. Get yourself set up for this. Light braking to third gear while the wheel was straight. Work your way. We want to be late on the apex, all the way to there. Let yourself track out. Come up over here. Brake at the sign. Off the gas to get a little rotation. Back into it as early as I can. Light. Gradually increase it. Bump, turn. Get first half of that curb. Gas as early as it'll let you. Stay tight. Eat the curb. Light trail brake in. Gas at the apex. Slowly feed into the gas so as not to upset the rear too much. Braking just before that pit entry line. Okay, I overcooked it. Let's try another one. I'm not going to talk this time. Let's see if I can do a better example lap. I haven't really done a good one yet.
One minute 30.
What was that? 1:30.85.
It pushes you a little wide. Don't worry about it too much. Just focus on the right level of throttle to be able to get yourself back to the inside, but not be losing time just coasting. See there, I'm being a little careful with getting back on the throttle because the car felt like it was pushing a little bit. Oops, I overcooked that for sure. Jeez. Well, apparently I can't drive when I'm trying to do a tutorial, but I'll do one more, I guess.
1 minute 29.42.
Was that 29.42?
We could definitely do better than a 29.4. So just be thinking about the hills and how you can use them or how you have to be careful of them throughout this whole track. It just makes such a big difference. Whoop. I was overcooking that a little bit. Now you don't want to if you get off past the end of that curb there, for sure
Sector 1
is dangerous.
0.8 off your best.
So there's a little bit of a game. A little bit of a game to play here. Didn't get enough of that curb there, and then I had to downshift for the turn because I wasn't doing it well. Let's try this again. I tend to do kind of a sweeping second-hand turn here because I feel like it's so easy to light up the tires with first gear coming out of that corner. In the VRS video, they do use first very late in the corner, but no, they wait to get into that gear.
1:30.36. You're now 0.9 off your best.
Now, if you overcook the entry to that turn there a little bit, like I did, then you can go a little bit more mid-track. You just have to adjust what you do with the car into turn 2, based on where you ended up coming out of turn 1. You can't pretend it didn't happen. late as possible apex. And then I'm steering to the right coming out of that because of that compression zone. The back end just has a tendency to step out there a little bit. If the red sign's too late for you, back it up just like a half sign or a sign. There are like 5 billboards there, I think. Again, early as possible there. Early as possible here. As the car settles, then you can usually be back on the gas hard.
0.40, slower than
all
your
the
best.
curb. See, if I use all that curb, that additional width makes such a big difference. You can stay in 5th, get in the gas way earlier. Now I turn right with pretty hard here to keep the momentum of the car coming around when I'm doing it in 2nd gear. Let's see. Another couple of things I could show are in my opinion, the best spots to fuel save on the track. This section's all full throttle. My favorite place to fuel save probably is coming up into turn 7. We can do a big lift, get a lot of speed coming up the hill here. Whoop. And then, well, I lifted too early, but you get the point. And then you can come back into the clutch pretty late there. And if you're following somebody that's difficult to pass, that's a huge opportunity for you to reduce the length of your pit stop and potentially jump them in the pits if you can stay stuck to them for enough laps. The other big one is probably coming into the hairpin down here. So I can come through here at full crank and so it's something like that. All right, I've probably lost everybody by now, but I'll do one more hot lap, why not?
1 minute,
That was 129.74.
29.74.
That puts you 0.32 off your best.
Again, you can turn the start of turn 3, you can turn in so much harder than most people think. Gas there pretty early as long as you can get off the curb. Stay in pretty tight, but just pay attention to not losing the rear end. Light brake, third wall in straight line.
Off your pace.
As your car starts to come back in, you can start to feather in the throttle again for gaining speed for the exit.
You're 0.2 off your best in sector 2.
And then if it's a quali lap, you can always cut in tight here. Save a couple hundredths.
129.11. Sector 3 time is quick.
29.1. Okay, so I think my fastest lap in fixed is a 28.5 or something like that. So I'm not quite doing it all here for the example, but I'm not warmed up and blah, blah, blah. Excuses. But anyway, I hope that helped. Feel free to shoot me questions if I can help with anything. I feel like it's a community service to like help people enjoy Sonoma because this track is so fun. Like the technical challenge, I love it. I think this is a great track once you get over the discomfort. So anyway, cheers everybody, and good luck in your race this week.